Since the next 4 videos I have planned for the month are in the topic of page punchers, I decided that for today's video, we are going to look at 4 different sets of Spawn page punchers. And I did find all 4 of these at Ross, so if you are one of those people who did not want to pay full price for this, any of these in general, because they cost like $16.99 retail, which is kind of pricey for something like this, well, do go to your local Rosses and check for them. Now, I will say this, you're not guaranteed to find these there because every Ross is random with what stock they have. For example, some people found things that I have never found at my Rosses. So, yeah, it's just random, and it's not an easy way to hunt, unfortunately, for the things we love in this hobby. But just letting all of you know who are looking for these, if you are interested in this, that they are at the Ross. So, yeah. Okay, so what is included with these page puncher sets? Well, you get your 2 3-inch figurines, right? You also get an issue of a comic book, which is really cool. And you also get a stand. As you can see in my new backdrop, these stands have been present in the videos. These are from the page punchers. And what you basically do with these stands is that you're supposed to display the comic book on them. And how you do that is that there is a divider in the middle right here, and you slide them in, and you can display your comic book this way. Which, yeah, for those of you who want to display like this, it's pretty cool. And also the base down here are for the figures to stand on. So that's one way to display them. Problem with the figures is that not all of them can stand properly, since there's no peg on the underside of their feet to peg onto the stand. So especially like Spawn, she can't stand at all. Like, she just falls over, which is so, it's just the way that her feet is molded, which is not good. So that is poor execution there in terms of like having the figurine be displayed on the stand or just on any flat surface in general. So that is unfortunate, but yeah. And also the 2 Scorch titles, they do include these bookmarks. So for the Spawn titles, the ones with this title, they didn't have the bookmarks. That was like wave 1. Wave 2 is called the Scorch, and I don't know what that run is about because I've never read that run. But they do include these bookmarks, so you can use them for the comic book. You can use them for your normal book that you're reading. So pretty cool that they gave these in there as well. So yeah. Okay, so we're going to start with, I guess, wave 1, set number 1 of wave 1, because wave 1, if I remember correctly, were these 2 like this, right? So let's start with the first one. And I would just say this, it's been a long time since I picked up a Spawn comic book, so I don't remember like what happens in some of these comics, like especially this one. This one looks like a origin story. I don't know if it's like the original origin story of Spawn or it's like a retelling. So if you do know what this is, do comment below, because I have no clue what's happening here. I just know that it's about Al Simmons. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is an origin. He says right here, Jesus, what am I? So, like, I was right about that. It's been a long time, so I apologize for my lack of knowledge if I forgot. I do recognize the characters, though. Not all of them, but just, like, some of them. But, of course, you have this right here, which is such a cool part in this issue. You have a full 2-page image of Al Simmons Spawn. So, yeah, pretty cool. And, of course, the back of the comic book, you got the promotion material for the Spawn figure line, this recent iteration of it, right? So, very cool. Now, let's look at the figures that are included with this first set. So you have Al Simmons Spawn. Let's start with him. And I will have to say, even for something this tiny in the 3-inch scale, it is still really nicely painted, which is kind of cool. I like it. I'm not one for like these tiny figurines because I really like action figures with like crazy articulation. But you know, I can respect the older stuff sometimes because back then action figures were simplistic, right? And some of them were smaller than the, you know, usual scale that we see today. So it is really cool to see this because it gives me a sense of nostalgia, right? And this one is interesting because usually with these figures, they tend to just, you know, move up and down, right? The leg, the arms, but these arms can also swing to the side, which is different. And they do have waist articulation. It's literally just a rotation cut right there in the middle, right there if it's visible. And his head can also move side to side. So very simple articulation. And of course, here's the back of the cape. Pretty cool. And we also get Anti-Spawn. And I apologize if I don't remember who this character is. He looks exactly like Redeemer. And I'm assuming it probably is Redeemer, because Redeemer has the same design, just without the purple cape. And yeah, it would be cool to see this guy in 7-inch scale. So yeah, it'd be nice if they made a 7-inch scale of this guy, Anti-Spawn. So that is set number 1. And then the second set in wave 1 of these page punchers, you have this one. So this is apparently issue 309, which I've never read before. You have a nice cover of Gunslinger Spawn. And basically, this one is heavily focused on Gunslinger. And of course, the other character called Augur. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And Augur is basically Venom, from what I can tell. I mean, he's definitely inspired by Venom, right? Like, as you can see right here. Since, if you know anything about Todd McFarlane, he is one of the creators of Venom. So, yeah. So, that is basically the whole thing with this character. He's very much like a symbiote, like you can see right here. He's taking over Gunslinger Spawn's body, you know, merging with him. Very, very symbiotic, right? And the back of that issue is the same promotion picture as the first one. And of course, the figures that you get for this. Let's start with the first one being Gunslinger Spawn. And this is probably my favorite 7-inch Spawn figure, the 7-inch version. And it's really cool to see that they also made a 3-inch scale version of him now as well. So, and there were 3 different releases for this guy. There was the deluxe version where he came with the horse and all the weapons. And then there were 2 separate releases of this guy separately during like year 1 and year 2 of the Spawn line, where they had different weapons, I guess. Yeah, so pretty cool. And of course, his articulation is the same. Arms can spread out like that. It can go up, but the legs can only go up and down. And yeah, pretty simple. Again, very simplistic. And then you have Augur. I hope I'm saying his name right. Again, very symbiote, right? Like, this looks like it's Venom inspired. And this guy does not have a 7-inch scale version, unfortunately. If he did, he probably might look cooler with the details and the texturing. Who knows? He does have green eyes, right, as you can see right there. His arms do move. He has a blade arm on this side. Really cool. And he also has his, you know, the usual Spawn, or not Spawn, more like Todd McFarlane's style of drawing, you know, these crazy looking fingers. So, very cool. So that is the end of Wave 1. These are all the Wave 1 stuff. Now let's move on to Wave 2. So Wave 2 is the Scorch titles, which I've never heard of these. These are more newer, I think. Yeah, these are more recent. I actually never caught up with these. I don't even know what these are about. You got issue number 12. Actually, let me zoom out first. You can't see that. Here we go. Yeah, issue number 12. And you also have issue number 13. So, pretty cool. Let's start with number 12. So the artwork on number 12 is pretty cool. You got Alcimon Spawn, you got Gunslinger Spawn, you got Redeemer, and I'm assuming that's supposed to be the Freak. I don't know who that is. It kind of looks like the Freak, maybe, because Actually, I don't think it is. It's maybe a different character completely. But basically, this issue, they give you a little origin story on Curse, who is the character that is in this issue. Very focused on him. And as you can see, you also have Medieval Spawn. There's a dragon. And Haunt, Gunslinger, and of course, She-Spawn are having trouble fighting this guy. He's apparently like really freaking strong or something, but eventually they overpower him and they do defeat him, which let's show that right at the end, right? And Haunt, if I remember correctly, he was also very Venom inspired. He was a character that was created by both Todd McFarlane and Robert Kirkman. I hope I got that correct. And there's another cool part in this comic where you got Medieval Spawn riding a freaking dragon, so that's really cool. Imagine if they made a Megafig dragon that you can pose that 7-inch Medieval Spawn on. That would be so dope. So, and on the back, you got this, saying Scorch number 13 coming out on December 2022. That's like 2 years ago. Wow, this is old. That's 2 years ago. And for the figurines, you, of course, get She-Spawn, which is really cool. So I do have a 7-inch version of her. I have 2 versions of her. There was the one that was released with the Cygor in a 2-pack as a gold label on Amazon. And that one just included her sniper gun. But the regular version, which was like a $40 set that came out, I think you can probably get it on sale right now. Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. But it's still available, surprisingly, on McFarlane's website. And it came with like a good amount of weapons. Like they gave her a few guns, and of course like this big spear-like weapon that has like a blunt end to it that looks crazy. Sadly, the plastic PVC on those are kind of, the usual McFarlane PVC plastic material now. It warps really easily, so that's the bad thing about that accessory. So still cool regardless. If you have that figure, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, this is the 3-inch scale version of her, and I like the way that this came out. And of course she has your usual articulation, same thing. They all articulate the same way. There's movement by the head, I think. I don't know, actually, does the head move? Let me see. Actually, the head doesn't look like it can move. It looks like it's like just pre-molded on. Huh, maybe not. Well, it is just a simple figure, so it makes sense. And of course, we have Curse, which I think this is probably my favorite one out of all of these. Like, honestly, all of these little tiny figurines, this one's probably my favorite. It's not just because of the green. Well, it's because of the green. I love the color green. I just like the design of this one. Like, imagine if we had a 7-inch scale version of this guy. Like, especially with this crazy arm on this right arm, right? Like, and also here's a zoom in on his face. You can see he's smiling, very creepy, very Joker-like. So, yeah, I like this one the most. This is probably like my favorite 3-inch figurine from all of these. So, and you get a nice soft PVC cape, and yeah, that is this first set for Wave 2. Really cool. And of course, the last one that released for these Spawn page punchers is, of course, Scorch issue number 13. You have this really cool cover art of Redeemer and Gunslinger Spawn literally just like blasting at all these, I don't know, demons, whatever they are, these monsters. And this one is very focused on Freak. As you can see right here, there's a good photo of the character, right? And there's also another character in here that is also part of this one. Let me find a good photo of him. You got Mandarin Spawn. Really, really cool. And here's another image of Mandarin Spawn at the end of the comic book. Really cool. And of course, at the back part of it, it shows Scorch number 14, January 2023. Yeah, that was a year ago. So, yeah, it's old. It's been quite a bit since they made a page puncher for these spawns. And of course, the final two figures that you get in this wave is Mandarin Spawn and the Freak. So we'll start with Mandarin Spawn. And Mandarin Spawn has gotten like a few releases in the past. So you have the regular version that looks like this, and my camera's not focusing. Then you have the gold label one where he's painted blue. And then you have the deluxe version where he was painted like a better color gold. And it was basically every accessory was included. And I think it was a GameStop exclusive at the time. I could be wrong. And of course, there was a Big Bad Toy Store version of him where it was in the black and red accents, which I did see at Book Off. There's a new Book Off location that opened near me, and I saw that figure there, and it looked like a used set. It wasn't new, so, and it was also expensive, so I was like, no, I'm gonna put that back. And the back of him is just very plain. There's no colors going on the backside. It's the same for all the other versions. It's weird because the backside is just like so plain looking, and the front is all beautiful. I don't know why they did that with this one. And then we have Freak, who, again, no 7-inch scale version of this guy yet. Hopefully in the future we do get him. He's also very skeleton looking like with the face. Very cool. And of course the articulation, as I've said, very simple. All of them have very simple articulations. So nothing to show there because it's all the same. And that is our look at all the Spawn Page Puncher 3-inch figurines and their comic books that are included. Now, I don't know why I'm going to do this, but I'm just going to do it. If we want to compare these to other figures. So let's take another Page Puncher line that if you saw my toy haul video, you would know that I picked these up. So take the Pacific Rim figures, for example, and let me actually zoom out because it's better this way and compare the two. As you can see, these ones are bigger than the Spawn ones. I think the Spawn ones are the same scale as like the DC ones for the 3-inch scale DC Spawn. No, not DC Spawn Page Puncher. I mean DC Page Punchers. So I think they're the same scale, but these ones are a little bit bigger, which is kind of cool. Very nice. And then what does he look like next to the Kaiju? Same thing, the Kaijus are bigger. This got a little bit of weight to it, which is crazy. So there's that. And I guess if you want to compare them to like a DC Multiverse figure, I don't know why you would, but yeah, of course, 7-inch scale, way bigger than the Spawn 3-inch, right? And if you want to bring in like even a mega figure for fun, there you go. Very big. So, and then I guess last but not least, like something around the 6-inch scale. So like this Chainsaw Man. Yeah. Well, that is our comparisons. As you can see, it's very tiny. So yeah. Well, if you found this video informative, do give it a like. If you want to subscribe to my channel and see more of my reviews for other things or just whatever content that I usually post on my channel, you can. You don't have to. In the end of the day, I make these videos for fun. And with that said, take care, and I will see you in the next video.